$900,000 in one part of the GTA. That buys you a 2-bedroom condo with no parking. In another, it can buy you a 4-bedroom detached home with a decent lot and even a garage. It's the same budget, it's the same month, it's the same market, but they're completely different realities. And this is the vast nature of the Greater Toronto Area. And really the point of today's video, it's what does $900,000 get you in different markets within the Greater Toronto Area. If you're house hunting or house shopping in the GTA, the single most important decision that you make is really not going to come down to which home you should buy. Truly, it's not. It's going to come down to which city you buy in, because your budget doesn't mean the same thing all over. So for today's video, I'm going to walk you through at least 5 cities within the GTA with that $900,000 budget and what you can actually get. Like, how far can you stretch your dollar? So that hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what city could make sense for you. Hi, in case we haven't met before, my name is Varsha and I help parents, families make thoughtful decisions about buying and selling real estate in Guelph and the Greater Toronto Area. Now let's get into this video, shall we? Let's start in Toronto proper, the 416. Yes, it will always be the 416 for me. $900,000 in the city of Toronto proper is not buying you a detached home. Let's just be honest about that. Okay, up front, you are not buying a fully detached home in Toronto in the 416 for $900,000, especially when last month, the average detached property in the city of Toronto, the average price was $1.6 million. You'd need to double that budget to get a detached. You could, however, settle in a nice 2-bedroom condo with actual square footage, so you don't feel like you're in a shoebox or a fishbowl, in neighborhoods like Midtown Toronto, the East End, Leslieville, or even the Danforth. The average condo in Toronto is selling for almost $650,000, and at $900,000, you have real options, okay, leverage to find something that's suitable for your needs. If a condo is not what you had in mind, the outer edges, okay, so the semi-detached market, they start around that $900,000 range in the East End neighborhoods of Toronto. But be prepared to compete, okay? As in Durham Region alone for last month, homes sold for 31% above asking in the region. So Toronto semis, they're going to get attention. They are a hot product. It is possible for you to have a $900,000 semi-detached, or at least in and about that area, but you might have to compete for it. This is obviously not for the family that needs 4 bedrooms and a backyard. Okay, you're gonna have to look elsewhere than Toronto, than the 416, or you'll have to stretch your budget. Now, city number 2, let's take a look at Mississauga, the 905. Yes, I still call it the 905. So when you start looking at $900,000 in Mississauga, you're going to feel a little bit of you're going to exhale, especially if you were shopping in the 416. In North Mississauga, like Meadowvale, Lisgar, Streetsville, $900,000 can get you into a 4-bedroom home, a freehold even. It may or may not be a semi-detached. Could be an older build, you know, some of those homes built in the 1990s, early 2000s, they offer real opportunity in the $900,000 range. You might even be able to find a freehold, a single family freehold, maybe even a 3-bedroom in those pockets. But the closer you get to the city, so for instance, in Mississauga, the closer you get to Port Credit, Lakeview, Mineola, that $900,000 may get you a slightly modern kind of 3-bedroom, probably not as a full-blown single-family detached. The trade-off then is that the average sale price for a detached property in Mississauga is sitting at $1.25 million, as opposed to the 1.6 in Toronto. So yeah, at $900,000, you are buying below that average detached price point of 1.2 in Mississauga. But again, it's going to come down to which neighborhoods. Are you okay with a semi-detached? Are you okay with a home that needs a little bit of sweat equity or work to be done down the road? So you might be looking at homes that need some updating. Do you have the tolerance for that? Do you have the capacity for that? And quite frankly, it's not a bad trade to get a full-blown home as opposed to a condo in Toronto. But again, it's going to add a layer of does this fit this stage of your life, your lifestyle, right? There's so many components that go into buying a home. Moving on, city number 3, I have to touch on it, Brampton. $900,000 in Brampton. You're buying a full-blown 4-bedroom home. You might even get a 2-car garage here. Areas like Springdale, Mount Pleasant, and that Sandalwood corridor, they are fully in your budget territory. Brampton gets written off by a lot of GTA conversations. And look, your personal take on Brampton, be that what it may, I'm talking about affordability here, and I think it's a factor you should consider. Communities are established, schools are built and solid. The Highway 410 and the 407 give you access right across the region. They've got a thriving transit and GO transit hub, and the GO train is expanding service there. And yes, there's an abundance of cultural diversity in Brampton. But the trade-off, if you're a family that has to keep going to Toronto, or you're a professional that has to commute to Toronto, you're going to feel it living in Brampton. There's no way around it. So if you're working in the financial district and you're expected to be downtown every single day, you're going to feel it in Brampton. Okay? However, it'll come down to, what are you prepared? What do you have capacity for? Do you want the home that you can get for the budget that you have? What's it going to be? Moving on to city number 4, we're coming at Oakville. I know. I cannot not touch on Oakville, and I understand you have a $900,000 budget. We're still going to talk about Oakville because if you're a family, the schools in Oakville are top of mind for you. So you're going to look at Oakville, even with a $900,000 budget. And here's what you can get. Oakville's average detached price is sitting at $1.3 million. So yeah, your $900K is not going to take you far there. However, you do get to enter. Okay, you're at the entry point into the community there. You could very well get into a townhome market in Oakville and get into the right school district for your child and honestly enjoy a beautiful lifestyle that Oakville has to offer, as well as be on that train, that, transit line that takes you right into Toronto. That's important for many families that I've helped relocate to Oakville. Some of the neighborhoods that you can settle in that have good-sized homes in your budget are going to fall into one of Ontario's highest school catchments. So I'm talking Iroquois Ridge, White Oaks, if your decision is driven by schools. And the GO train from Oakville to Union Station in Toronto is about 30 to 40 minutes. That's manageable. And it's way better than fighting traffic on the QEW. And so truly, I am specifically speaking to families with young kids or children that you want to go through the school systems in Oakville, because Oakville ranks high in terms of the quality of the school system. Then do not overlook Oakville. Even with your $900K budget, it is very possible in the market that we're in today. And finally, Durham Region. Durham has seen some interesting growth. The numbers in Durham are quite interesting, actually. Durham is a city that gives you the most value for $900,000 in the GTA. So Durham Region, we're talking Whitby, Ajax, Oshawa, Pickering. Your budget of $900K could easily take you into a fully detached property with a double car garage, but you might have to fight for it. Durham has seen the highest above list price average for the month of March. So we're talking 31% sales happened over the list price for the month of March in the GTA. It happened in Durham Region, and there is demand there. The GO train from Whitby or Ajax to Union runs regularly. And for a lot of families, that trade-off of getting a little more space for growing families, it makes sense for them. And the trade-off of having to commute into Union makes sense. Maybe I should just mention this in passing. If you're looking to settle in Durham, you can't really compare it to Mississauga or Oakville or some of the other cities that I've mentioned here today. It's got a plethora of amenities, but it's a completely different feel than Mississauga and Oakville that's a little more established in that way. So how do you pick from these 5 cities? It's really going to come down to your lifestyle and your preference. Okay, there are so many factors that are going to guide your decision to figure out which city to land in, but investing in the Greater Toronto area is important to you. That's why you're here. If you're measuring just square footage, then Durham's going to win. If you measure by school rankings and maybe even just the prestige of where you live, then Oakville's your clear choice. If you measure by lifestyle and walkability, it is obvious that you have to pick Toronto. Brampton wins for families. Honestly, there is a lot to be offered there. And Mississauga is kind of it's a blend of all of this. It offers a little bit of everything. You just have to know where to look. So while your budget guides you heavily, of course it does, you also need to know the kind of life that you're looking for and the options that surround you in finding home. I work with buyers that feel confused by the amount of information they're getting online, and rightly so. There is so many competing opinions and information coming at them all at once. You only feel that confusion if you haven't gotten specific enough. You need to go specific enough to what you need for your specific life, not anybody else's. If school catchments are your number one, then fixate on that and find the right neighborhood. If commute time is a priority, then don't look at anything else, okay? Keep that a priority. If square footage is everything because you all need breathing room, then you know where to go shop, Okay, you have to have some sort of clear guiding point. And of course, falling within your affordability is a reality too. Once you get clear on that, the city becomes obvious. I'm genuinely curious to know. Tell me what city fits for you.